Hello. It's Sunday apparently. We are in the position. Ooh, I know what I haven't done. This isn't right. I need to change my thing. I need to change the title of the stream. I completely forgot. And for some reason I can never type when I'm at an angle. So, change that. So, yes, so I just had a message from someone. I was going to... So, yes, we are in the position to be doing square number 3. And of course you realise, in the week or so that it will take me to complete square number 3, Willie will have then done 1/6 of my curtain. Now, I'm trying to make sure I plan this right. Yep, this is right. What am I checking? I'm checking that... Let me change my pillow. So I'm checking that, although that's not straight, and can I make that more straight? No, not really. That this, the sideways movement of being able to move the middle of my thing, when I come to sewing in the ends, will be the direction of the pillow. Because moving it really, really helps. So, we are starting like it never happened before. I really want to move this, but I haven't... Dog, seriously, go sit somewhere else. Okay, let me do that, and let me... The problem is I need to move the light and the camera, not the pillow. Hang on, let me move that a little bit, like around that way. And then I can straighten that up a bit and move this over a bit, like this. That's better. I can then sit nearer the front of that. Although, I need to turn the table underneath a little bit, because otherwise I'll be knee butting a knobbly bit, and then I need to straighten it a little bit. There we go. Right. Still not exactly straight. How can I... Yeah, that's... There, that's... It's not straight. I can tell that it's not straight. I'm not stupid, but there, that's reasonably straight. So, we get to put some pins in. Now, I was thinking about a lot of what we did yesterday, because, you know, that was just so much fun. Just throwing a pin on the floor already. The... Can I see it? No. Use phone. Phone and light. Come on. Wakey wakey. Thank you. There it is. I see it. I can't reach it. Might be able to reach it with my lovely magnets though. Mainly because my lovely magnets are really good magnets. Turn the light off before I drain my phone completely. Right. I considered using slightly thicker pins on the opening spots to assist with the pocketing of holes. The other thing we learnt was that we are not going to remove the pins from this rose ground on this first side like we do for the rest of it. Just because that way we don't have to put them half of them back when we work back round. Now, I have done a number of bobbins. I have already forgotten how many I've done. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 32 out of, I think it's 45. I'm going to admit to an element of laziness. Now, I have reused some of the thread that was on the longer bobbins. A couple of them, well, 2 potential work threads were new straight off the reel because I really wanted to make sure there was a lot of that. I still am not confident in the amount that I have wound on them, but if you look really carefully, zoom in, hang on. If you look real carefully there, you will see a tiny knot. This is not ideal, but life is short, and I was not entirely keen on chucking away that much amount of thread by not using it. So I have tied on a number of them a small amount of knot. I have also changed my bobbins because, well, change is as good as a rest, right? So welcome to a different set of bobbins because we can. I quite like these bobbins too. I need to make them a bit longer, so let's do that. They're not all absolutely identical. Now, does that matter? No. They are predominantly identical. And just to show you in advance, there are some slightly different coloured ones, so lighter ones, which are going to be my worker pair. Hopefully, I've got enough of the darker ones to maintain that. Why did I change bobbins? Well, it made it easier. First of all, these have not got tapered necks. Secondly, hello, Silver of Dragon. It is a pleasure to see you. And yes, you found me on Facebook. Well done. So I'm just discussing the fact that I have changed my bobbins. Yeah, I decided to go with slightly different bobbins, partly because they have not got a tapered neck, because that was irritating me a lot. But also, it makes it easier to tell the ones I've just wound against the ones that I'm taking the thread off. So, and yes, there are, Silver of Dragon, please don't shoot me. There are knots at the beginning of this. So, this is not ideal. I'm aware of this. But I don't want to waste that much thread, so I am trying to be practical. She says, trying to make sure the knots stay around the pins, because although that will make my life more awkward later, well, it just seems practical. No, it's not that cheap. And to be honest, I have got like 10 more bundles of the thread that I'm using. So from that point of view, I almost certainly have enough, because I will have got a test triangle and 3 squares and potentially a bit more out of one, and I've got 10 of them, so I have enough. But as you say, it cost a small fortune, and because I had gone so over the top last time, I used the ones with the most amount of thread on, and I split them into 2 bobbins, which is really weird because the pile of freed up bobbins is huge, but I've only got 32 pairs. Now, some of them, because obviously the inner ones are shorter, so towards this edge I've kind of made the decision to take 1 bobbin, each, and tie them in a knot, so I get double the amount, right? So from that point of view, I am hoping that there's enough. I am terrible. In fact, I am beyond terrible. I am like the singularly worst person in predicting the amount of thread that is going to be needed for a lace project. I just seem to be absolutely incapable of it. I know the theory, but in practice, I suck. So that is distinctly a thing. And I kind of want to tilt it this way a bit. There we go. So I just basically trying to keep an eye on where the knots are and whose knot is what and who's connected to what. I'll take you out gently. I'm trying to keep the knots around. Where's the other one of you? Oh, you're you, right. Trying to keep the knots at the pin so they don't encroach on the actual work. And in a few rows it'll be a lot easier because they'll be a bit more secure. So yes, I spent ages last night winding bobbins and it feels like I've done next to nothing, to be honest. How 32 pairs can be so little when it seemed I was winding bobbins all bloody night. I mean, I know that's 64 bobbins worth, but which when you say that actually doesn't sound quite so bad, but it is still, it wasn't enough, obviously. There you go, it goes up there, you're actually pin out, but never mind. I'll sort you out. Yoink. Yoink. So yes, I've gone for different bobbins because, well, it's a day with a wine a week. And I thought that by changing my bobbins, it will make this feel a bit different. Just because I'm holding different objects. And so it will help with the prevention of fatigue of the brain cells in doing this. So just kind of trying to sort my bobbins out a little bit. I was watching one of my videos on Flanders lace earlier, and basically it's not dissimilar to this. You use the same sort of grid, you know, and all that kind of stuff, except for every pinhole is 4 pairs of bobbins joining together. So if we thought this was a lot of bobbins, I do that. I am capable of either way up. To be honest, I know I use all the bobbins for the wrong kind of thing, but like a lot of these things is, as long as it works. I mean, realistically, the actual bobbin doesn't matter, right? The actual bobbin, in terms of when you make the lace, is its only job is for you to hold the bundles of thread. You could, in theory, make little kind of windy, kind of like almost like little miniature knitting balls and work with those. You'd go insane because they'd weigh nothing and tangle like nothing else on earth. Like little dust bunnies, they'd run around the room, right? But the truth of it is that the bobbin shape is not important to the outcome of the lace. Your comfort and your brain cells are. And so, realistically, why not give it a try? Hence, of course, you can make lace with clothes pegs as bobbins, because, well, as long as it holds threads, it's doing good. As I say, I'm trying to keep the knots out of behind the pins, which is harder at this point. don't know why I'm just adding them. Why am I just adding them? Let's actually make some lace instead of just adding a big ass pile of bobbins. So let's move you out the way a minute. I mean, I have to say, these Danish bobbins are quite light. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but they are really quite light because they're made of a light wood. And as I said, that's not per se. She's just going to undo that because she wants to put an extra twist on that. It's not a bad thing. It's just passing comment, you know. I do like these. These are almost my next most favourite bobbin. I definitely want to make these longer. I want them to be about down here somewhere on my... Yeah, that's a better spot. They do that though. That's the only thing, is they do roll around a little bit. Because they're quite light. But that's... Yeah. I spy a knot. You need to go up there. There you go. Did I twist you twice? I don't know if I did. No, I didn't. Because I'm stupid. Silly woman. Did that time though. Let's go get you. Make you longer. Try and make sure your knot's up there. I would probably hate myself for the knots when we come around to tying it off. But, as you've said, Silver Dragon, it's too expensive not to. I mean, compared to the price of wool and how much you can do with it, so I would argue it is cheaper, but it's still not exactly cheap. I mean, the kilometre of thread that these are on a spool is £9 roughly, allowing a little bit for the postage, right? Which, for a ball of wool, for actual wool, that would be really cheap. So from that point of view, it's great. I mean, this is only cotton. If this was silk or something, I'd be crying and I'd be, you know, getting out tape measures to measure it. It's definitely not a good plan, but then no one in their right mind would make a net curtain out of silk, frankly. You'd be an idiot if you did that. So just because, you know, it's a net curtain, you don't want anything that delicate as your net curtain. Linen would have been nicer, and I did find some linen thread, but there wasn't really a lot of choice. You know what do I mean by that? There were no different sizes. There was just, here is some linen thread, and that was not what I wanted. I wanted, you know, options. That last one doesn't feel right. Why does that last one not feel right? Because it's not. It's across. I forgot the twist. That's what's wrong with it. They're getting longer and longer and longer because they can. Let's do you up a little bit. I have an almighty load of these. I can show you them, but basically it's a shoebox. I have a very full shoebox of these things, and I see a knot. Where are you from? You're from there. Oh, back up the top. I have a large shoebox of these because I got these at a reasonable price. And I bought the light ones, so the ones that I showed earlier as my worker thread ones. I bought a load from Germany, and because it's cheaper to buy them from Germany, and ship them even. It's scary. I just wish they sold more of the other kinds of bobbins that I like. But never mind. I think this pin was from the base of the hiding at the bottom. But the other reason I thought I'd use these is that when I do the stick thing, so she says grabbing a stick thing, is that if I bump these all up to be in roughly the same place, the stick thing can go across here rather than across the neck, and they will hold. So, right, now we need to add another pair of bobbins. So I've organised my bobbins on my bobbin tree thing that I've got in a semi-semblance of order, in that I have the ones with knots and the ones without knots, and the ones with knots arguably are longer than the ones without knots. And so it allows me to make sure that I'm putting these ones, the ones I believe to be longer, on, well, the right side of the, on the outside, so that they are, well, going to do their best, I hope I've got enough thread, but as I say, I while I know that a lot of it is oh, your thread should be, for groundwork, for example, oh, your thread should be double the amount of length of your project. That's not a lot, but I did that the first time and I frankly ran out. Obviously the cloth stitch ones do a lot more zigzags, so I have to be a lot longer. That's fine, I get that, but again, I made the worker ones the first time round longer, and I think we ran out here on the first one, and it was kind of like, oh, that's not a good sign. And so, with all the best will in the world, stop rolling. I'm going to need a stick of poking, aren't I? Haven't got a proper stick of poking because, oh yes I do. I've got a stick of poking in here I can use. Hang on. She says digging through her pile of things. I broke a nail yesterday. Not doing the picking of the pins. I was doing something completely different, and I seem to be one of those people who, when you go to pick something up, most people pick them up. Now, I seem to ram my fingers into everything, so I broke one of my picking nails, and my finger feels really short and stubby now. So, never mind. It makes picking up pins a bit more complicated, especially when they're on flat surfaces, because, well, I'm going to need to pick pins up a bit more. So I'd have liked not to have the knots in it, but as you say, I'm sorry, but it's just not cost effective to throw potentially an entire square's worth of thread away because I miscalculated, knowing that I will miscalculate in the future anyway. I mean, you'd like to think as I get further along, I get more and more accurate with the amount of thread required. The answer to that will be no, on the simple grounds that, well, I don't actually know the exact length of the thread on the bobbin. And of course, each bobbin, each pin has a slightly different requirement. And I'm not, going to count. I mean, I wish there was a tool like weaving where you could enter, say, your pattern and kind of point out that you're going to do, you know, this is your thing, and that it would say, for this pair of bobbins here, you need precisely, I know, 1 meter 35 centimeters or whatever, you know, on this bobbin. And you could go, thank you, and put 1 meter 35 on the bobbin. Just because it would be so useful for not wasting thread. I mean, obviously, if you've got a tassel or something you're putting on the bottom, you'd have to say, oh, and add so much for a tassel, right? But I wish that there was a way of finding out the exact length. Did I put 2 bobbins in one hole? Might have done. I have a tangle of bobbins here. They're not that tangled, but they're tangled enough. You know how bobbins are. Bobbins do love to make friends with each other. Right, let's lock you down a bit. Loop. I need way more than that, you know. That's too long, of course. Yeah, it's close enough. That's 2 pins. So yes, I have lots of different shapes of bobbins, and I like some more than I like others. I do like the heaviness of a heavier bobbin. To the point, I wish there was almost a way of hiding a metal thing in. For goodness sake, I swear my co-worker has a 6th sense for when I'm streaming, because they send me text messages 5,000 times more. It looks like he's picked a fight with his neighbour. Whatever. Over a cat has found a home. Not the most essential conversation in the world. Right. So yeah, back to the Flanders thing. So, in essence, it's very, very similar to this. But instead of doing like half stitch, pin, half stitch, you do cross stitch and twist, but you do it with 4 pairs. It's more like a rose ground, but it's not, but it is, right? So you do cloth stitch and twist, half stitch with the ones with the centre 2, half stitch with the left pair, half stitch with the right pair, put a pin in, cloth stitch with the twist in the middle, half stitch on one side, half stitch on the other, and you're kind of going. So basically you're just doubling the amount of bobbins you use at every opportunity. Can you imagine making this with the best part nearly 200 bobbins? I mean, and more to the point, it not looking that dissimilar, because the ground stitch shape ends up very, very similar to this. So from that point of view, you'd have to use a lot thinner thread, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you'd have to use thinner thread, so therefore you end up buying less for your money usually. And then you'd have twice as many bobbins, so that's twice as much time wasting your life, winding them on. And of course, twice as much waste for the amount that you miscalculate, right? It's worked on the same grid as this, so it would be very easy to interchange this with it. And you're just kind of going, feels like putting in a lot of extra effort in for not a lot of return. A bit like the sewing in of the ends. You know, yes, maybe it looks better. Maybe it's... I mean, she did say that the Flanders lace is incredibly durable. Now, of course, there are rats. Why can't I find the end? Still too long. It's because I had to undo it a load to put the... Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I did twist it twice. So yes, I just can't picture having twice as many bobbins. When frankly there's no desperate need for it. See, this is the only thing that's going to be a bit annoying if you're going to do this, is if you're going to go looser and undo yourselves. That's going to be annoying. Can you not? So let's move you back round a little bit, because you have loosened yourself up. Just a little bit long, really. A pair of bobbins. Let's pull you down to your rightful spot. Oop. Lace making is so much easier once all your bobbins are in though and they're all kind of held down. Need a pin. I seem to be very bad at picking pins out of my pot today. See, sometimes they're just slipping slightly. There was the Spanish people, when they do their lace making, apparently it's exceptionally common to put a piece of leather over the bottom of your pillow. And while we tend to put cloths over the bottom of our pillow, the main reason I've heard for this is to stop you looking at the rest of your pattern. Why? You're going to do it at some point. Why is it so bad to look? But certainly the leather side of it has a bit more of a thought of, if you think I'm constantly, wiping my hands over this side of my, the side of my bobbin pillow near me, then obviously that becomes could become quite worn along the edges, and it would protect the fabric. It is quite tempting to almost put some form of bias tape on it, or do a little bit of inkle weaving or something, because I do random crap like that too. Make a little inkle strip to go around the edge to protect it a little bit. Problem would be these squares, because you can't really do the edges of these squares, because, well, the idea is you're supposed to be able to work through them and put pins in. So one of the reasons I'm not actually a fan of the sliding pillow work is when they say to you, oh, you can make really long strips. Yes, you can, but being me, let me show you what I feel would be the problem. Work, pin. Well, now this pin can travel up and down the gap because, well, there's a gap, and so it's not held properly. And then should you move it, all those pins are a complete waste of life. And it just strikes me that you chip away at the edges and, damage the edges of these. And so from that point of view, I am not a fan of the sliding cushions. So obviously, as like I said, these slide left to right, because that's the way I've orientated it. They're supposed to slide up and down, but if you turn it 90 degrees, it's up and down, right? So from that point of view, I would use it in a pinch, but I would much rather use a roller pillow. I would rather use roller pillow. Can work quite well for camera, for example, because it's still got a flattish base with a big roller at the back, and you turn the roller and advance the lace on that. So from that point of view, it would be good. But I saw the singularly, and I mean absolutely perfect picture of gloriousness the other day. Let me see. I did try and save some pictures on my phone, so I need to obviously transfer them to my PC so you can see them. But let me check that I got the ones that I thought I did. Only sort of. But let me send those to my PC in the only best way that a geek knows how, by sending them via email to myself, and then logging into my email on my PC, because I don't actually normally do too much of that. Let me move a couple of things so I can get on my keyboard, because, well, frankly, the lace pillow's slightly in the way. Let me grab, log into my mail. I do log into it, but only usually for things like this. It hasn't sent it yet. Come on. Oh, I know why. Did you do it or did you not? There it is. That's right. Just took a little bit longer. Right. So. Let me do this. Let me show you this. Hang on. I need to go there. Browser. Yep. So these are not the best views, but bear with me. So this is, if you can see it close enough. That's not what I wanted to click. I thought I was going to expand it. do that either. Open a new tab. Oh, I'll download it. No, that's not what I asked. You might be able to see that this is a humongous pile of lace over the top of a shirt, and it's kind of like almost like an overshirt of a shirt, right? But that's not the bit that scared me. This is the bit that scared me. This is the woman making it. Now, I've got a bolster pillow very, very similar to this. And here you can see she's got a pattern where she's worked the lace to cover part of the square. Look at that pile of bobbins. I mean, I have anxiety just looking at those pile of bobbins, right? Because, well, frankly, that gives me the willies. But this is exactly how my brain was picturing the second neck curtain to go. Because as we all know, my brain's kind of going, well, see, you're making a neck curtain. Can we make one in one piece next time? And so I've got kind of, I won't say this bolster cushion, because if you actually look, on the left, it looks to be a lot thicker than it is on the right. I assume it's at a bit of an angle. But that seems to go across, and then it would kind of come out about here. So I'm not quite sure how that works. But she's got this monster bolster cushion with like 80,000 bobbins. Hang on. Oh, sod off, you annoying piece of crap bot. Report you for spam because you are indeed a spam bot. And you will be gone in about half an hour. Good riddance to you and the message that you posted. Right. Back to what we were doing. We were looking at these anxiety in producing bobbins. So let me just quickly count. 1, 2, 3. So if this little portion is 20, that gives you 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200, 220, 240, 260, 280. Just over 300 bobbins as a guesstimate, right? Now, that's actually less than I thought, so I'm sure it's more than that, right? Let's say 350 to kind of round it up a little bit, because we can't tell how many are dangling down the front. There may be as many down the front. That would be more accurate, right? That, to me, is stress-inducing and frankly, scary. I mean, it is the reality of making lace. And for people back then who did make lace for a living, this is the kind of world they lived in. And I would, like I said yesterday, part of me would love to go back in time to meet these people, to see them working. Because they were not the most educated people. That's right, I know I'm just getting email pings in my ears, which is part of the reason I have email open. From Twitch saying, we have actioned your report. No doubt. Hang on. We actioned your report. Yeah, the bot dude is already gone. Right. You lasted long, didn't you, bot? Right. So, back to the other end. You got caught round the pin that was not sticking up. Hold on. And of course, part of the reason that I was saying earlier is that part of the reason the Spanish put a layer of leather over is, well, you can't catch on pins, you've got a big fat layer of leather over it. Now, I do have a big fat piece of leather to put over it. In fact, hang on. This is my smaller piece, but it is still the right piece for the right size for this pillow. So I might actually try that because they do it for a good reason. So let's move you around a little bit so that I can slide you underneath and lift you on top. This. Lift you up. And you have extended yourself. Back. This. Pick you up and then slide you up like this. Now it is a little short in this bottom right left hand corner. You can't really see that on stream, but this is exactly the length of. And of course I put the other pins away, didn't I? What a douche. It's right, I had the fat pins. I have to use the thin, skinny, bendable pins that don't really want to go through leather, but yeah. So let's pin the edges down a little bit because they curl up slightly. Oh, I managed to put both those in without bending them. And then let's tug you down so that you're all where you should be. Like this. And you're a bit long. All the others are a bit short, one on whichever way you think about it. Might be easier to do that weirdy knot with these rather than trying to fit in the gap of. I might have to do that. That could be a thing. Right. So now we need yet another pair of bobbins. This is the sad part for me. Is I spent last night, some of this morning, winding pairs of bobbins, in fact quite a lot last night and this morning, winding pairs of bobbins, and here I am chewing through them at a rate of knots and feeling somewhat aggrieved because, well, at this rate, it feels like I'll have got through all the ones that I've made and I've still got a load to do, so I see you, Mr. Knot. Where are you from? You're from here. You need to go up here, thank you. And you need to be a bit shorter. Because you're just been a night. And we need to do this. So yes, if you ever see like the Galician videos on YouTube of Galician, however you want to pronounce it, I have no idea. It's a bit like Caribbean and Caribbean. I mean, it's kind of like whichever floats your boat. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato, right? However you say it. But the Galician people doing their lace making, they have almost like a washboard shape pillow, so that it is incredibly rectangular. So it's long like this way, and I won't say small, but in comparison to its length, obviously skinnier lengthwise, right? And they cover the bottom with a piece of leather, although to be honest, most of it looks like lino, considering all the ones I keep seeing look like wood. So it's lino. which of course makes it plastic, not leather. But of course it does help with the sound. Now the only thing that this is currently doing is this free edge is catching on my jumper. Let me pin this end down a little bit. As I said, I put my nice pins away because, well, I didn't need them, and now I'm regretting that choice. So let me pin that down there. That'll help with a little bit, and then I need to do another one in the corner. So put you like that, I think. There, that should help. Yeah. Now it's only my jumper catching on the pillow, so that's fine. We can always take it off again if it gets really annoying. But it's, I would say it's grippier, but it's not. It would need to be suede to be grippier. Actually, that's a really good point. If I flipped it over, the underneath is a suede. Thought for another day. Will you stop getting longer? Two pins, I only need one, thank you. See, the problem is things like this where it makes a loop and then of course gets longer because it's made a loop and it's lengthening itself. So we may have to revert to that more complicated knot, but because we're not trying to fit it in a groove now, it would be potentially a lot easier to do. It'd be a shit to unpick though. But it would be potentially easier. Right. Can I have a pin? I keep poking myself, but not actually picking any pins up. See, look at these two. You can see the bobble of thread that's kind of come loose. The table feels higher today. I guess it's just because my arms are tired. Part of me laughs when the bots come and post a stupid message, because it's almost like you do know that there's like 3 people here, and none of us are interested in your spam, and I don't know whether it makes me feel like I've hit the big time because they feel it's worth the effort because I'm going to get them banned. So, it's just kind of like, you came, you spoke to 3 whole people, and then you got banned. Really? This is the highlight of your life, is it? This is kind of like, you thought this was a plan. You're going to get caught for stealing. Don't get caught for stealing a penny chew. Get caught for stealing a Mercedes or something. Get something with a little bit of value behind it. Make it worth it. If you're going to be told off and punished for it, at least make it worth it. That didn't work out right. Hang on. There we go. You two are just being annoying. Let's try that other knot on here. So I've got to do this right. So we do round and round. And then it's a bit long, but it'll do. Oh, there you go. Right. Round and round. It's a lot easier to do on these bobbins, I do have to say. They don't all have the same size shafts in the middle. If you look, like this pair, this one's really skinny, this one's really fat. This does not help with the winding of bobbins, but we shall see. I know I'm done. Take the pin out of that and give you two a bit of a pull. Okay. Far too short, of course it is. I must be drying out with the central heating or something, because I feel just dry all over. And a drink of Coke, that's what we need. And a pin. These pins seem to be pointy end upwards. Oh, for goodness sake, I had one in my hand like 2 milliseconds ago. Every single one of them is pointy end up. So when you pick one up, it pulls like half the tin up with it, because obviously there's a mat of pins in the tin. And that looks a little bit wonky there. I can't see it. Hang on, it's too far away. Let's turn it around so we can get a bit closer. No, it just looks a little wonky from this side. From here, this pin has like a loose bit, but it's not, but it is, but it's not. Just trying to work something out. Hang on. You really would think that that was possible from here. I want to add a bad word to the bad word filter. That will take, but we can try that. There we go. Right. Get back to what we were doing. You two are too short, come on. So yeah, shooting rabbits or something outside. Yeah. Popping of type of noise I associate with the. You see, you just have just gone mad and come undone. So let's wind you up a bit and do the double loop because that does seem to hold a little bit better. You're far too long, of course you are. And of course, take you out. Give you a tug. Now we're on to the non-knotted ones, which is a bonus and a curse in its own right, because it means I don't know where the middle is. A bit short. Okay, that's about right. Kind of hoped I had enough of the knotted ones for the first ground section, because, well, it is the longer side of life after all. There's a few short. Short. I saw that rolling away stuff you just did. I saw that. These also don't seem to take up quite as much room as the others, even though in theory these base bulbous parts are about the same size, especially like these two, which are really quite fat indeed, but they do just seem to have a little bit more room on the pillow. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with Midlands bobbins except for the spangles. I know the answer is well, you can take the spangles off, but then they're just tiny little thin sticks of nothing, aren't they? this lady who was doing the Flanders lace I was watching, she was making a strip and she was using bigger thread, so the dots were far more spaced than the ones on my pattern. But the piece she was making was probably not as wide even as the bit I've done already, right? She already had an entire sweep of bobbins filling her cushion, and you're kind of going, there's no way on God's green acres that I am going to be making an entire neck curtain from that. But I am interested about how she goes about it. Because, well, torsion is generally used for making more geometric shapes, such as the pattern that I've got. But nothing technically stops you making a more rounded pattern with it. I mean, bearing in mind the same grid and just a crap load more bobbins is used in Flanders, which is associated greatly with, she calls it banch, I call it binch, because it's B-I-N-C-H-E, so it's got an I in it, not an A. But banch, binch, bunch, whatever, right? Well, basically that's Flanders with even more annoying complications. Well, in that case, then surely, if it's the same grid, there is a potential to do the same work, or similar work at least, with a few less bobbins. And make a more rounded picture. So, I don't know, I keep saying fleur-de-lis because I can't think of anything else, but, you know, a more leaf, fleur-de-lis style pattern, right? And so your lace curtain then can have that level of rounded picture as part of it, but be done in torsion because it's just far more practical. Now, the Bucks and Bedfordshire lace uses a 54-degree angle grid rather than this, which is, well, 45 degrees and 90, whichever way you think about it. It is just a grid. And from that point of view, there is the bit of you that sits there going, okay, well, oh, my knot just came undone. Well, that's a really pleasant thought. Let's try this again. None of my other knots came undone, so I don't know why you did. Why are you being awkward? Let me try my magic knot again. I am not using the weaver's knot, although sometimes this is called a weaver's knot. For Nauticart, who may or may not be present, I am trying to do a sheet bend. As I say, in some places they refer to this as a weaver's knot, in other places they do not. In other places there's this complicated voodoo shit that counts as a weaver's knot. See, I thought you might be lucky. My friend, have just done a sheet bend. I would like to point out, with threads this thin, it's really f***ing hard. But I've been doing sheet bends on these tiny threads, which is interesting. I didn't realise this one had a join in it, and I would have used it sooner. So I am trying very hard to use better knots and call them better things, but sometimes this is called a weaver's knot, sometimes it's called a sheet bend. No, as a joiny knot for joining. You can see the whole point is it is tiny enough that it's here. Look, this tiny knot. To join my two threads together, because they're not under a lot of tension. They just need to stay together, frankly. but not as a finishing knot, no. Screw finishing knots. I would not be accurate enough in their positioning for finishing knots. My sanity is already low. I don't need to be, slightly depleted and all that. I am trying to keep... Where's the other one? Trying to keep them at the edge. So I can fight with them at the end and hate my life choices, because I now can't see what I'm doing because there's little fluffy knots everywhere. But that's tomorrow Liz's problem. Today Liz's problem was Liz didn't, as Silver Dragon rightly points out, thread is not cheap. I mean, it's not, like it's made of gold and it's hyper expensive, but it's not exactly cheap. We're not talking £1 a spool here. We are talking £9 a spool. And if I had stuck to chucking it away and starting again with winding my bobbins, I'd have got 2 squares out of the first one and a big pile of reject, which was not necessary. I was confident that at least some of the bobbins have enough to make it another square out of them. To help with brain fatigue more than anything else. Just because I have them, because I can, because today is Sunday, because I felt like it, for no other reason than because winding off the last pair of bobbins onto completely different bobbins makes it very easy to see which ones you've done and which ones you haven't. But also because, well, why not? That was the general crux of that decision. But I think it also will help with some of the mind fatigue that can come with this, because obviously we are just making a shit ton of triangles of exactly the same. And so by changing up the feel in my hand, they will feel different, which hopefully will help with some of that. But realistically, because that, and I've got a shit ton of these. I do literally have a metric shit ton of these. I've got an entire... Bear in mind, I have got my little bobbin tree thing to the left, which you can't see. But I have a bunch more bobbins on my bobbin tree, and the ones on the pillow, and I still have a shoebox I cannot close full of these bobbins. Right, now I've already found one bobbin that will be retired and ceremoniously, let go on the grounds that it was too damaged. I bought most of them secondhand, so the darker ones are secondhand. The ones that you will meet next row, which are these ones, are brand new ones that I got from Germany, which constitute half of the metric shit ton, because I think I had about 200 of these bobbins, and then I ordered like 200 more because, well, they were reasonably priced, and so I do have a metric shit ton of these. Because obviously I can't easily get my favourite bobbins. These are my next favourite bobbins in terms of shape. I'd like it if they were heavier, but I do like these. And so, as a result, we are... Just because I can. Just because I can. And it's interesting, actually, been looking at a number of those videos that I got. And you've just let loose on the world, haven't you? Yeah, that's do you the double knot then. And the number of those people doing lace with the Midland bobbins, which were not designed for the lace they're doing, is actually quite astounding. So from that point of view, as long as the bobbins are comfortable, their only real the purpose is to I do know how. I just suck at it. I do just royally suck at it. And you see, look at the state of this bobbin already. I mean, look at the state of this. Let me sort this out a bit. See if I can sort this out. I need to work out what's caused this bottom bit to come off. Let me bring it a bit closer to me so I can try and work it back on to the actual bobbin, because, well, otherwise my fat grubby hands are manhandling it all the time. Because I've taken you off now, I will do the double knot, because the double knot is definitely a plan. But these, unlike the last bobbins, doing the double knot, even though that wasn't a double knot somehow, I don't know how I did that, doing the double knot is a lot easier because you've got just the big head thing and you just whomp it through and it kind of does it. So from that point of view, this double knot works so much better on these bobbins than it did on the previous ones. So. Right, where am I at? I've done that one. I need to do this. So yeah, most of it, Naughty Cat, was just simply because I thought it might aid with preventing a bit of brain fatigue by the fact that it would feel different. I mean, it's not different, if you know what I mean, but it is different because they feel different. It doesn't feel exactly like the same shit I was doing kind of like 2 days ago. It feels different in my hand. So it's like sitting at a different angle. It's like changing the background music. It's just whatever it takes for it not to feel too repetitive. Because clearly repetition is going to be a bit of an issue because, well, we've got 18 of the bastards to do, and we've done 2, and so far I've lost my marbles once per square. And, kind of not looking forward to 16 more breakdowns. So in trying to keep some of that a little bit to a minimum, as you know, originally the plan was after completing a square, I would take a day off. But I'm already taking a day off roughly once every couple of weeks, due to tiredness, general stress, and the rest of my life, which, well, in 2 weeks' time shouldn't be too much of a problem because I'll be on holiday. My change of employer stuff happens the end of the week, so that's going to be worse this week, but in terms of everything else, should be good come the end of the week. It's too late, I think, is the phrase for the end of the week. So, like everything, you do with what you can. So yeah, and I'm kind of enthusiastic to keep going, and there is a bit of me that says, while your brain's still really in the mood, it's not like my brain's going, oh, do I really have to? If it's still in the mood for it, then, well, let's be cracking, because there will come a time when my brain's going, oh, I'm sick of the sight of this now. And at that point, I will struggle with it a bit more. So, until then, we need to make hay while the sun shineth and all that kind of thing. bobbin feels weird. Put me double knot on it. Biggest problem I had with winding these bobbins was that when I start them, you can't really get any tension going, so they end up with this kind of lackluster kind of baggy movability in the winding on section, and clearly that is not really where it should be. Actually, no. Let's unpin that and undo that. Right. You'll see why I'm doing this different now. I had a plan. Will you fucking go in the push cushion, you annoying pin? Excuse my French. We all know that Liz can get a little bit irritated when things are being stupid. And when you've got a pre-pricked pinhole and a really soft bit of foam underneath it, why is it that a sharp pin that can easily go through my finger cannot make it through the pre-made hole into through the soft stuff beneath? Just go in the blessed hole. Right, we now need to package up some of these so that these are a little more out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we still want to do 5? Yes, I think we do. I was thinking we might be better with 6 actually. Let's see. No, 6 is possibly a little much. Let's stick with 5. One of the other advantages of these bobbins is that they have this kind of neck on the shaft bit at the bottom. So this doesn't now go round through here and try and tangle. It can now go around the bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we get another stick. You can go around like that. You will come down like this. And we now work through you. And we pin you. stomach's off again. Must be hungry. Missed. There we go. I do apologise if you can hear my stomach. It's making a good conversation down there. Trying to come undone. We can see that. So we will tighten you up a little bit. There you go. Right. And then it's really dark out. It's only 3 o'clock. Winter has arrived, I guess. Speaking of which, I wondered where my dogs were, but I don't want to excite them because then they'll be annoying. Well, of course, one of the things we could do, because we enjoy doing this, is we can push down some pins. Because we all know that we enjoy doing this. If I had enough pins, part of me would say leave all the pins in and just push them all down forever till we get to the end of the square and then spend like 9 hours picking out the pins. But we also enjoy looking at our work and going, oh look, there's all the mistakes. So from that point of view, we will not be doing that. I can hear voices. Which, considering where my house is, that's quite an achievement. My house is right next to 2 other houses, but you'd have to be making a lot of noise for me to hear it in here. Usually it means you're standing on my doorstep. But if you're not pressing the button, you don't get a human. And as the dogs aren't doing anything, they clearly don't care, so... It's kind of amusing sometimes because, as you know, my dogs get excited about a lot of things. And I stand there going, shut up, it's not important, you know, it's only this, it's only that. But the number of times I've heard things they haven't is really quite surprising. And it's not because I'm making them up, they're not figments of my imagination. They then hear them and get all excited, but I'll have been hearing them for like the last 5 minutes and they haven't. So, it is a little weird. But they're dogs, that is fine. And this is where Liz starts worrying that she hasn't got enough, you know, thread on her bobbins for the, especially for this pair, just because this pair have the longest path fall, and she's made these far too long now. Stupid woman. Make you a bit shorter like that. Like that. Let me grab the next two out of that. You're too long, my friend. You need to join your friends. There you go. There. Have a pin. Part of me finds it interesting that, so for example, we all know that you can machine make knitting. Mainly because each stitch is pull a loop of thread through the previous loop of thread. Now while that is technically kind of true with crochet, it is not. You find a place in the stitch before and poke, wrap, maybe one or many times, pull. So to a large extent, you'd think that you could machine do this. You cannot machine make crochet. You can machine make lace. Now, part of me finds that puzzling because obviously, as per here, we have a number of sticks with a length of thread on it and we cross and twist them. So, you know, inside a machine, you could have hidden spools of thread and then, you know, twist them around behind the scenes. Because obviously if you had, she says grabbing it, hang on. You know, if you had these behind the scenes and obviously, you know, this coming off it, you could move these around and, you know, have considerably more thread at your disposal. To run away. So from that point of view, you know, I guess it would work. But you've got to control each one of those spools, for want of a better word. Because much like if you've ever tried to plait long hair, hello, I have long hair. If you do not keep the ends separated, so if you have a row of spools and you try to twist and well, all the bits behind where you're working do the reverse. How can I demonstrate this? So, it's the same as putting a pin in, right? So, if you twist before the pin, she says finding a pin. I was looking around for a pin. I've got a whole fucking great pot of them, right? So if I put, you can see that there is one twist before this pair of pin. If I twist this here, this obviously is behind the pin. But if I then twist them before, you'll get both the before and after twists, right? And so you'd have to make them move, which of course is strenuous. So it strikes me kind of therefore as the machine to make it is overly complicated without almost due reason. I mean, obviously people doing this is much slower, but of course you also don't pin it. So you would struggle to make some of the same things with it because, well, you need the pins to hold it in position to do the work. So part of me almost doesn't see how you could do, say, this pattern with a machine, because you've got to do groundwork on this bit. This bit, you have to almost work in a diagonal. It kind of, I mean, maybe it's just because I've never seen one, up close and personal to inspect how it would achieve these things, that it doesn't make sense. But right now, it doesn't make sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, just checking I hadn't added a random one for the sheer fun of it. So yeah, it's bizarre to me that this is repeatable by a machine, but crochet is not. We need to stick some of you to hold you in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can go over there. Double knot for you there. I'm sure Naughty Cat will tell me it's got a proper name, but it's a half hitch with 2 wraps. So make a twist underneath, wrap it round again, and then let loose. So it's just a little bit less easy to move. It's probably got a posh name, but I know not. All I know is I call it my double knot because I go round the loop twice. The name of it, after all, is less important than the action. You know, the lovely line, a rose by in on a other name would still smell as sweet, you know, kind of deal. It's still the same shit, whether you call it a potato or have got fancy knot name for it. So, as long as it works, that's all that matters. Right, Stripe's just picking a bobbin that could kind of use it. Right, so normally I make a twist and put this through the loop, and that gives you a half hitch, right? What I do with this one is I still put it through the loop, but I then wrap the loop round the head again so that it's got kind of 2 loops, but it's not a hitch knot, but it is kind of a mangled half hitch, and I'm sure it's got a proper name. Was that sufficient, or do you need another demo? I could possibly find you the original video I learnt it from, if that helps. It would, but I want it to move fairly easily, but not just because part of the problem is, as demonstrated by this bobbin, is that for some reason it moves and then of course lengthens itself, which of course now gets on my tits. So I do this with the extra windy bit and it doesn't seem to move as much. But I can still easily wind on more and more, or on or off more thread without going insane. It just makes it a little less flimsy, for want of a word. Just seems to slow it down just that tiny bit. Yeah, I don't need you yet, that's right. I'm sure it's got a proper name somewhere and, you know, all that kind of fancy jargon, but to me it's just my double knot thing because I do a double loop at the end. The biggest problem with a lot of these knots is they are designed to be resistant against an element of pulling. And of course, quite often while they're like this, they're at rest, which allows them to move marginally. I mean, a two half hitches probably does work. But since seeing that woman and finding it easier on these bobbins, because I tried it on the last ones and it was evil, but because of the mushroom tops on these, it's quite easy to just kind of go wrap, pull, and it magically it's all done. Because they haven't got that groove I want them to live in or anything, they just sit at the top. It's kind of an easy thing to do with this. And as we all know, ease is definitely a thing in life that we want to achieve. You know, why make life harder when you can do an easy one that's just as good, you know? As long as it is sufficient and does not alter things. And of course, because it's just how the bobbin hangs onto the thread, it really is, you know, irrelevant in terms of the lace making section. So I can kind of, you know, frankly, you know, if I could get away with it, a dab of glue would be fine. It's you do get bobbins with hooks on the top. Now, they are generally designed for other things and for dangling, but they're quite good because, of course, you put a half hitch around those and the half hitch stays. You use a similar kind of contraption in weaving to hold either warp thread that has stretched or a replacement warp thread or additional warp threads because apparently you couldn't count, and you wind it around a bobbin and you basically put it on like a thing with a hook on the top and, you know, a bit of weight at the bottom to hold it still because you need the tension on your warp thread, and that's kind of a, you know, it works on the same loop at the top because, well, it holds it still because it's at an angle from what it was at, which is quite nice. Which I think is half the problem with the bobbins, is that because when at rest they can move, the thread can untwist and play about a bit and get on your nerves, really. Can't believe that I'm getting down to this rose ground and I'm going to have to start, you know, I'm liable to have to end because I've run out of bobbins. This is scary. I spent so long winding bobbins. I really did. I felt like I spent hours, well, I did spend hours winding bobbins. I really, really did. These also go into here really easily, which is quite nice. Slip down a little bit, there you go. Because of the torpedo shape, they go in there really quite nicely. You could do with being a bit longer so that you're meeting your friends further down. From there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a stick. Now, actually, I want you to stay out because I will need you later. So I'm going to stick you 4 together momentarily and take you round and out the way. And you will not be doing that. And I've just seen the world's most bent pin standing there like an old granny at like 90 degrees. You also note that these don't lift up as much with the pile of bobbins because there's much thinner and fatter parts to kind of mate together. So let's get another stick for you, even though there's only 3 of you. But actually, if I'm going to do the rose ground, I need all of you, don't I? Right, let's do this. Let's start from this end and then we can put them out the way. So, roll you that way. They do roll nicely when I want them to roll. They also roll nicely when I don't want them to roll. So, actually, let's put you over here. And then we do the next one. Next one. And I saw that. Ouch, got my finger stuck in. What the fuck, bobbins? How? How in the name of monstrosity do you do some of this? Now, you, my friend, are an annoying bobbin, so you get to be strangled twice. Right. And you are the first pair. So I'm not sure how many of these I get to do. One of you, and I need another one of you, and I need another pin. Pin! Get out the pot. Right, and I need you. And I need you to face a bit more away from me because, thank you. Right. So, I've got 4 more. I've definitely not got that many bobbins. 1, 2. Actually, I might have. Fuck me on a stick. Really? 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. No, I've got 2 more. Okay. I've got enough to get to the bottom of here. Blimey. More than I thought I had. I really thought I was going to run out halfway through this. I know I've done 32, but out of 45, and that technically there's 15 in the bottom, but that doesn't add up, so let's not think about that. I'm sure it's 45. I counted it really, really hard a couple of times, because for those who do any form of crafting, they will vouch that when you count things, counted things don't stay counted, and that you get different results each and every time. So counting things is not reliable. See, the double knot's so much easier on those. What the fuck did I order? I don't remember that. What? So I get a message on Etsy, and it well, frankly, you're a wise man. So I don't think you can see this. No, you can't really. But I've got a thing here from a seller, and it says, but underneath it, Etsy's written, first message from potential buyer. No, dude, I am. If this is what I think it is, I am the buyer. I've now got to go and check because I'm confused. Because it's the sticks. So let me show you the sticks. Let me show you, because I can show you this. It's on Etsy. I can show it on my browser. Hang on. So, I can show you, she says, finding the purchases, there we go. I have ordered these. Yeah, I need to transition, there you go. I have ordered these, and they come in a variety of things. So obviously here you can see the bobbins being trapped by a stick. I have ordered kind of this selection because there was two options. A, which is all of them, and B, which is a random one on its own. So I ordered some lot A, so I get kind of all of the above. But these are much more like what I wanted, as long as that elastic's not baggy, and I'm sure I can shorten it. But I quite like the fact, I quite like these, and they look quite wide in comparison to the ones that I've got. They've got holes for pinning them down so that they don't run around. But I also quite like the pretty pictures on them, and so I bought a couple of those so that we can tie down our bobbins. And they're coming from abroad, of course they are, because no one in our country makes anything frigging useful. I mean, they're really simple. It's a thin bit of plywood, in this case with a bit of laser etching on it, a couple of holes, and a bit of a slit at the other end for the elastic to go around, right? It's not groundbreaking stuff. And so from that point of view, if I had the equipment, I would have made them myself, right? I really would. But they're about the same length as my current sticks, so it'll hold roughly the same amount of bobbins. But I thought that they would be slightly more stable for the picking up of bobbins. And also I quite liked the fact that they were pretty. So that was this week's Frivolous Buy by Liz. But they sent me a message, and it doesn't show it now, so I can't really show you, but No, it doesn't show it. But basically on my messages, it said this is from a first potential buyer. Well, no, it's not. It's from, I am the first time buying from them, but I did not send the message. They sent the message. So, yeah, it's from a seller. Let's get it right. So, we need to do the fancy thing. Actually, I'm trying to remember how we did this last time, because you don't just go into it. I need to think how I did this last time, because I ended up with the pin in the middle here. She says not seeing the holes. Why can I not see the holes? It's the wrong way up. Time to make more holes, people. Make some more holes. So I put holes in here. So that we kept the shape. So we need to do something with these first, so that they don't fall off the pin. And I think actually what we will do is put this in here like that. You've just come undone. I just watched you unwind. You bad bobbin. Dog, shut up. There is nothing there. You will shut up. And we will do the double wrap end to that. That causes that to stay a little more still. And we will put you round like this. Shut the fuck up, dog, before I slap you. I wouldn't slap them, but I don't tell them that. Cross, twist, cross. And then get off the pins. Get off the pins. Right. Then we join you together with the pin I had earlier. I'll check I didn't actually trap any of the threads with the pin. No, I didn't, because it looked like I did for a minute. The pin. I really can't pick up any of these pins. I can't see the hole. No, I've missed. There it is. Or something like I did yesterday, throwing it on, what was it, Saturday, one or the other, I think Friday, I think it might have been Friday. Throwing that on the floor was not one of my better moments. Right, now, ow, found some sharp bits. Ow! This clearly one sticking up that I keep putting my thumb on, and it's the side of my thumb as well. See, once the threads are held, it really isn't so bad. It's when they move about that it becomes a bit more frustrating. Which is why the double knot's quite good, because you need to be able to put a bit of tension on it. And we're not talking an obscene amount of tension here. I'm not swinging off the end of it with all my weight. I'm just giving them a little pull to make sure there's no spare bits floating around. Back for you later. See, that doesn't feel right. See, this is the only thing that does happen, is that you pull on one of the threads and then suddenly they all look really wrong. So, cross, twist, cross. You really want a pin in there just to kind of hold it still, so all the threads coming out are just gonna stay where you put them. You are moving, so we will double knot you because you're being annoying. Right, cross twist. Pin, cross, twist, cross, twist. I really would like to have a go at some of the other lace styles. The problem is it's because my brain is trying to plan net curtain number 2, and we're a long way from needing net curtain number 2. So, have I done this or not? Amy! I've had enough of her whining. Just shut up, little one. Where's your brother? No, where is he? Oh, there he is. So he's not trapped. Little Timmy is not in a well somewhere. Can we not? So let's undo that. We did do it. So right, you are good. You need a pin. You, my madam? No. Ow! Bony, clawy thing. You're a bony, clawy thing, and I can't put a pin in with one hand. Well, apparently I can, but it's not easy. Can we not? Amy, please. I know I screamed at you, but that does not mean you need to molest the shit out of me. Little girl. Rory's being a good boy. You are being annoying. I know that it is in your fur, and that you do not have the same gentle, kind laziness that your brother does. You have crackhead ability. But can you dial it down a little? Otherwise, we're going to have to buy you more calm pills for while I'm trying to do work when I'm on holiday. Yes, because if you're going to be this kind of angsty the whole time, and by the way, yes, she is sniffing into the microphone if you hear what sounds like heavy breathing. You will have to chill. Come here, let me tidy your eye. Here you go. Sod off. And now you've woken your brother up. just stuck her head out the door and went, nope. Attempt number 2. Yeah, gone out this time. That was quick. It's not that bad out there. It's only a bit windy. It's not even raining. Amy? Amy? If you need a poo, you go outside. You don't run and hide upstairs. Okay? Go and use my landing because you don't like the weather. No. Good girl. She's going outside again. Nope, change of plan. I don't care if you don't like the weather. You poo outside. It smells like someone's having a fire outside. Long, but never mind. You look shorter. You can have the excess. Yeah, that's a bit better. Right. I guess one of the other advantages of changing the bobbins is that it proves that all the pictures and stuff are different squares and not just me making the same video over and playing the same video over and over with different talk over it, so... Because I do have some other bobbins coming. Of course I do. Bobbin kleptomania is a thing. I do have some other bobbins coming. They're square, so they won't roll. So we will try those on one of the squares that we make. Probably the next square, because they should be here in a couple of weeks. So might not be the next square, might be the one after that. We will find out when we get here. Take. Somehow I missed. Amy, shut up. Patience for whiny dogs is low. Mainly because of the stress and the frustrations and the concentration. But the last thing I need in my life is a whiny dog. And it's exactly what I have. I have a very whiny dog. I love her dearly, but I love her more when she's asleep. For she does not whine in her sleep. That reminds me, I was going to check if I had a book. I saw a thing about a book, and the book had apparently has a lot about the variants of stitches. So much as I've said to you, the key part of lace making is consistency. So if you do one twist, you will always do one twist here for that piece of work. If you do 5 twists, you will always do 5 twists. And so this book apparently has lots of the variants in it and how they look as a different, you know, how it alters how it looks. I was going to see if I had that, because, well, I think I've got the book. I've got a big pile of books, and the picture on the front looked familiar, but that doesn't mean I own it. That just means I've probably seen it. So it's a little open for debate as to whether I've got it or not, or whether I need to buy it or not, because I am interested in the variations. Obviously irrelevant for current project, because variations could be bad, unless of course we're talking for the middle squares, because obviously those can be different, but you don't want them the same but with minor differences. They'd have to be reasonably different to bother to do different middles. But for example, let's say I do a different ground stitch, right? The middle ground stitch could be, you know, I could do squares of ground stitch and use a completely different variation, because the entire middles would be different, if you know what I mean. And so it wouldn't look so wrong, because it would be consistent down the middle of the curtain. So from that point of view, you know, we could do different. And rather than plumbing up a lace pillow and fiddling with them all to see how they look, if it's got pretty pictures in it, well, that's ideal then, isn't it? And I've decided that when we come to do the corners, I need to do the left one first, because then when I've completed this one, like this, I snug it up and immediately I start work on the next one. But there isn't a next one because that was the end of the line. Well, that's fine, isn't it, doofers? So, I'm going to put a stick around you to hold you so that I can put you a bit more out of the way. It's not like I haven't got a lot of sticks. Plenty of sticks. So we can put you out of the way, like that, and make more room. Because we like lots of room. Makes the lace making process so much easier when there is a lot of room. Robble, bobble, bobble. And you are the first lot. We need a pin. We put it in the pin. So I just saw a YouTube video come up. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because he's Chinese, and I would just mortally offend every Chinese person in the world. But he does how to recreate Chinese recipes at home, and I'd kill for a Chinese right now because I'm hungry. Because of course I didn't have lunch because I'm stupid, and so, you know, I would really appreciate, you know, if someone made me a big pile of Chinese right now, I'd definitely go do some serious damage to that. I need you all a little bit longer. So let's make you a little longer. There you go. Right. There we go. I was going to say we must be due for ads, and yes, it's not far away. I'm a little concerned that my dogs have not been bothering me as they usually do. Says the little brown one because I've mentioned the word dog. That's right, my back's a little sore. I think from all the leaning over and squinting at tiny little holes yesterday. I mean, don't get me wrong, you'd think it would help build up some muscles, because we all know that usually what happens is, you know, a bit of you that gets used that is not used to it, or does extra in a way that it was not expecting. It does do that kind of like, I worked so hard yesterday. And you know, usually after that, it's a little bit more up for the you know, after a day or so, it'll kind of shut up and be a little bit more prepared for the work in question. Whereas this doesn't seem to be getting better. I mean, we've been doing this a couple of months now, you know, it feels like a couple of months now, and yet somehow we still aren't. We still get a sore back, so it doesn't seem to be improving quite like I would have hoped. But there we go. Never mind. But I am hungry. What am I going to have for tea, kids? I think that baked potato we talked about 5 days ago sounds nice. Big baked potato with cheese and chilli and beans or something. Cheese and beans. How does cheese and beans sound? Or should we do chilli? Chilli and cheese. I think chilli and beans sounds like a plan though. I'm not actually a big fan of beans, but for some reason beans on a baked potato works quite well. And I'd argue it's me eating a vegetable, so we will, you know, take the small win. Further out the way because the desk's in the way. slouch for a little minute. Let my back kind of come out of a spasm. Don't you No, no, get your nose out. I don't care. No. No, I loathe hating to test the dogs that are in my house. Yes, yes, I do. For you are annoying me. Yes. Ow! Beating me up. Don't know what is wrong with you. Well, actually, I do know what's wrong with you. You're a dog. And you think the whole world revolves around dog. There isn't enough room on my knee for your paw, my dear friend, or both of them, because I'm using it to put my elbow on. So stop scratching at it because you're falling off. Have you considered not standing on it? Oh, children, can you not? Hello, Rory. You've been a very good boy. But now you want huggies and you're going to be annoying about it, aren't you? Because you're going to do your slow, creepy thing where you're coming for a hug whether I'm ready, willing or able. Amy's going to knock the cushion in a minute and I'm going to get mad. Will you stop it? Enough. Enough. I think they're hungry too. We don't have set doggy dinner time here. It's just something we've never done. Because it does cut out the, but it's 3:04, you always feed us by now, kind of rubbish that you get. That looks wrong. And I say this a lot. I don't think it is. I think it's just the angle that some threads were at and that slightly bit of tension on the right pair. Certainly moving it has taken away the bit I was looking at that looked to be a straight bit in the bit where there shouldn't be a straight bit. What are you eating? How do you think I can't hear you? Hmm? Come here. I need to look at that later. Come on, out. See this side. You seem to have a bit of fur in your face, dear. Is that why you're licking your face? You've got something stuck on your teeth. We will have a proper look later. Okay. It's funny how you stop when I stare at you though, isn't it? Which makes it more of an attention-seeking habit than an actual requirement. For if you actually needed to do it, you'd keep doing it when I look at you. Stop it! Come on. It's an annoying noise, little one. How can I have like 5 billion pins in a pot and not be able to pick up a single one of them? Amy, enough with the noise. And I know that there are probably thousands of people going, you have to ignore her. Well, I tried ignoring her and all she does is get louder and then come and thump me, so... ignoring does not help. It should, but she knows I'm ignoring her. And so we'll get more and more annoying to try and get the attention she wants. Now, she doesn't need anything, so it's not essential. No one's breaking in the house. The house is not on fire. They will be fed. They have had a snack, which is more than I had. Have water. I know this because I haven't heard them finish it. In fact, I haven't heard them drink much of it at all since while I've been streaming, so there'll be a big bowl of water in there. No! Just because I have leant back does not mean I need you in my face. I do wish I understood more of what she was saying. But, now we need to go a little stick happy, I feel. Let's pull you round. Right, we need 2, 3, 4, 5. And a stick. You're short. Make you a bit longer. You around like that. 1, 2, 4, 5. Grab a stick. Sigh at the state of this bobbin. Actually, let me see if I can sort some of this out. There you go, see? I'm just being annoying. It looked. If we deal with it now, it never will be. Right. You now can come round and go on the part at the back. I don't need you yet. So although the stick is a little wasted on you, stick you for control and push you round the back. Well, isn't that looking tidy and neat, people? Right. We need to do the bit where I constantly say, I don't think I've got the right amount of bobbins. So, we need this one and this one. over there for a minute. And I need 2 of you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 has just come out. Actually, where's that? That is number 5, so that's fine. That's you sorted. You can go out the way a bit more than that, giving us space to do. Now, something's not right, because you can tell this because I've got the wrong colour bobbin. Something died back here. So, you are over the top. So you go under, over, under. That's better. There we go. A little long. Let's wind you up a little bit. There you go. So you can't pick it up because I haven't got a fingernail left. You need to cross like that. I was hoping to do this, the ground stitch, and the 2 bits of cloth stitch, but right now I don't know if I'm going to finish doing this bit of cloth stitch. Stop telling him off. He was not being naughty. Oh, we have a bean moment now. Why does that feel like half? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is a stick moment. Let's do the stick so that we can get you out of there, because you are proving dangle worthy. So we will stick you. We can put you at the back out the way. Hold you down and plop you up there, so you are now out of the way, which is a good thing. And now we need you. And one of you is round a lot of pins. There we go. Take the other pair from there. So, cinch. You wait over there. Ow! Sure, I saw some crossing of threads then. No, doesn't look like it. This one is doing its best to be annoying again. Where do you find all these things to trample on, dogs? I have this habit of finding things, putting them in the middle of my floor and then trampling all over them. This is proving really, really painful. But I will get to the bottom of the cloth stitch bit if nothing else. really must charge my massage gun, but I can't really use it on my back. It's very hard to contortion to point it at bits of yourself when you can't see it. Because while I can touch my back, I can't really get a gun's distance away from it and point it forwards, if you know what I mean. So I can't point it at my good self. It'd be nicer to have someone who could do that for me. That would be useful. But I do not have one of those. Nearly at the bottom of this. And you've just slipped, so you will be the bearer of a new shiny double knot. And you're long, so you can also have one. Twist. Cinch you up a bit. You are just coming straight undone, despite having the double knot. How are you doing that? I probably didn't twist it right. Ow, 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 ow. And you. You need to check. Yes, you're right. You just look kind of wrong. And you also need a double knot because you're being annoying. Because you two... something's not right. But I can't see what's not right. But what I can tell you is it's not right. Is that these two should be joined, and clearly they're not. Now either that is because the pin is not in the right place. Oh, fuck off, Alex. For what? Let me read this. around it, which of course I can't pinch it because it's solid flesh finger. Can't really grab the pins in it. So something is not right, and oh, shut up, woman! Why is it because you are round? It was. You were round the peg. So you are now to it. I do hate it when people who've just noticed something that's been true all year. Just need to make sure that's right. I'm gonna fucking get rid of this flap on my phone to the silencer, because I can just never actually open it when I need to, and it's not like I need it to be waterproof. There, gone. Now I can turn it off, make it silent without having to fight, because it's one of the flap's really good. It helps keep, makes the phone water resistant and all that kind of crap. The only problem is it's got such a strong join on it that you pick it open, because you have to pick it open, and it immediately closes again. So, Liz the intolerant is not in the mood for things of annoying natures. Right, and you need to be twisted. That's better. That looks like what I expected. So, some of you, 1, 2, 3, you two can go in here. In here, like this. Like that. And then round the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get to go in a stick. You're a bit shorter. And you're a little bit out of sorts, but we will put a stick on you to prevent chaos. There we go. Much as my brain is in the mood to do a lot more, my back is not, and clearly my temper is closely behind it. I will not be apologising to my co-worker later. She doesn't need it. So yes. Let's take a photo because we can, and I can't see what it's pointing at because of the light. There we go. Let's have a look. That looks pretty even and tidy. So, we shall be back tomorrow. I will try and... I have worker pair, 2 more pairs and 2 more pairs. So I have bobbins down to here. I'm going to stick a pin in it to help me count. I have bobbins to take me to there. So I have a handful more to go. This leather thing hasn't really made any difference. I think it possibly makes it easier for you to see the threads a little, but that's kind of it. Doesn't make much difference from my point of view. It's quite a nice feel to it. I don't even know if it's real or not. Hang on. Could be real. Probably isn't. But I've got a big piece somewhere. A really big piece. No. I sniffed something. Bite me. So yes. I'm gonna put that down a bit. We haven't pulled any pins today. We do need to push a few more down though, I think. Because we enjoy pushing pins down. It is satisfactory. And it's a little bit of kind of gives you the feeling of completion. So let's go through with pushing pins down. And we are keeping most of these in the rose ground, so we'll just push these down because we will be keeping these. For stability for the end, so we might as well push them down. Just because. Leaving the raw edge, for want of a better word, up. Because I need them as a barrier for the rest of the world. But that should help with the tying off in the future. See, it makes it look brighter even if I just push the pins down. I just haven't got enough pins to do the entire pattern by pushing all the pins down. I mean, I think that would be a really, in a way, a nice thing to do. But it's not essential. I'm just keeping those to try and help stop me pulling things out of shape. To an extent I might do more, because obviously I kept 3 layers of pins last time on all the other sides, and I think realistically, she says, thinking about it a bit more, doing the same for here, keeping kind of 3 layers of pins so that when we come to tying the end, there is strength of holding things still. So having a kind of boundary along the way. I'm sure some of these aren't 3 layers in, but having that strength to keep the shape while I do the knots so it doesn't distort it at all. I can see some of the little knots that I made, but it's not too bad. So yeah, I think that's a thing. I think that's definitely a thing. You're a bent pin. think that's definitely a thing for the first side. And we'll keep those in. The rest can kind of come out later. I didn't finish down this side, did I? She says, picking her hair in, sticking her head in. You are not a down pin. But we haven't done bad today. We haven't done bad. I hope to do more. And of course, now I've been sitting back a bit and I'm not leaning forward doing the thing, my back is calming down. But, you know, do you really want half an hour of me sitting here while my back calms down just that little bit more, on the off chance I can do, say, another half an hour in half an hour's time? You know, it is a waste of your hour, I feel. I do like the fact that these bobbins pile better. You know, that's 3 layers of bobbins and it's quite flat in comparison to the last lot. So from that point of view, that's a good thing. I'm going to put you over there because, well, that's a good place for you to be. Brush those down. So yes, all tidy. And then we get the heavy cloths of goodness. We steal back the pin of poking. And we push you down so that you don't catch on anything. Let me quickly count how many more I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I need 13. I obviously can't count. 13 more pairs of bobbins. Yeah, it is 13. That's right. For some reason, my brain wanted to check then, because obviously, do I need to add one at the last corner? And the answer is yes. This looks like I've wiped my face on it. I have not, I can assure you. I'm just going to put... Why am I doing this and not the brown one? Because the brown one's full of bobbins. But this cloth does look pretty minging, actually. Turn it over. There you go. Doesn't look quite so minging now. Still got minging elements to it. But there we go. Thank you for joining me today. We will, as I say, we will be back tomorrow. It is what it is. I would definitely have liked to have done more. Part of me says maybe I'll come back after tea and watching a bit of telly, but that can be complicated. I know initially I did do quite a lot of part 2s for a day. We shall see. It is only 5 o'clock, so maybe in a couple of hours I can come back and do maybe a couple more hours. But obviously, like everything, I've got work tomorrow. I don't want to overstress stuff. I've got a lot of changes this week. So again, I don't want to be making my life more complicated. Last thing I want to do is I've got to go for a meeting on site today. Not today, this week. And I don't really want to be the, I've thrown my back out, I can't come. Because that'll make me really, really popular. Although, from my point of view, hurrah. Because it means I don't have to leave the house. But I don't really want to throw my back out, so that's the thing. So I need to be nicer to it. I need to let it have a rest. But maybe I'll be back later, if not tomorrow. Take care, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.